At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
This is Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
That's right. Welcome in, Bleck and Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports, the Westwood One Sports app, SiriusXM Channel 375, and all of our great radio affiliates around the country. I'm Chris Bleck today, joined by Sean Little, filling in for Abdalla as we hang out for the next couple of hours on the air until 3 Eastern. hanging out with you. If you want to join the show, you can call or text the show at 310-840-4910. Sean's in for Abdalla today. And Sean, we have a lot of basketball to cover, especially with last night. The Thunder take a 3-2 lead in the Western Conference Finals. They win last night 127-114. And the way the game kind of went is early third quarter, the Thunder jumped out. They never looked back. And really, San Antonio didn't have enough to make it over the hump at the end to make it close. And there you go. So now the momentum swings towards the Thunder. Game 6 is on Thursday night. Can the Spurs respond?
Classic zigzag spots, right? First of all, happy to be back.
What's up, man?
Let's go. Let's have a good time. Let's have a good show and talk some ball. It's the end of May, so tons of stuff going on. But yeah, it's a classic zigzag spot, right? A lot of the time you win game 5, you win the series, you're at home. You're coming off of a really, I wouldn't say bad loss, but a game where San Antonio responded in the only way they could, coming off of a loss in a must-win spot. You couldn't be down 3-1 going back to Oklahoma City. It was curtains.
Yeah.
And for all of the competitiveness and how crazy game 1 was, which was an all-timer, and how good game 2 was, you were getting ready to lose that series in 5, and it would be a lot more mute. So you showed up, you got it done. Now, going back to San Antonio, I absolutely think the Spurs can win, will win, and we're going to get into the fatigue and all the chatter around, Wemby looking tired. It's clear to me that when he's a little tired and not into it, he's just not by the basket. He turns into shoot first Wemby instead of let me get to the paint Wemby. But the crowd seems to be carrying both squads. Like, it was clear in San Antonio that extra juice was produced and propelled Wemby and the gang, and it did the same in Oklahoma City last night.
Yeah, you're right about that. And it's what we expected with this series, right? Like, I from the jump, I thought this was 7 games from the start, and we'll see which team has it in the second half of Game 7 to win this series. So none of this is really surprising to me. We discussed the game last night, previewing it yesterday here on the show, and one of the things I kept saying was I thought SGA would have a good game. I thought the role players for the Thunder would have a good game because usually in playoff series like this, the role players play better at home. Those shots fall. It's a little bit more comfortable. The home crowd's behind them. And when you see Caruso hitting those big threes, you see others like Jared McCain hitting big threes and in his first start in the playoffs, like, all of that made a lot of sense to me. I also mentioned that I thought that the Thunder would get there'd be a heavy whistle against the Spurs in favor of the Thunder. I didn't know that would necessarily take place at the end of the third quarter, wherein it seemed like the officials were the 6th, 7th, and 8th members of the Oklahoma City Thunder crew at the end of the third quarter, where the Spurs got screwed. They got absolutely screwed on the play where. What was it? It was let's see. Wallace is the one that goaltended. Yep. The ball was on the rim. He comes through.
Yep.
He swipes it off the rim. Okay, so first of all, that was a 10-point game at the very end of the third quarter. Should have been an 8-point game. The referees botched that. Then Coach Johnson's there trying to get the review. He's calling it he's on the court, and the officials just ignore him, which then the Thunder come down and get a bucket on top of it. So, like, really, they got screwed at the end. But, you can blame the officials. You can blame Wembanyama, who got off to a slow start. And as Sean, that you were saying, you look at the way that he plays in games that he struggles, he floats away from the basket. And that's the key. That's what the Thunder want. They want to keep him out of the paint and force him out. And they'll let him shoot from the outside. Last night going 0 for 5 from 3, it's a killer for the Spurs. You can't make up for that offensively for the Spurs. So I think there's a lot of elements that go into it. It's not surprising to me that the Thunder played well at home and the role players played well and the officiating kind of leaned towards Oklahoma City. None of this is surprising because I think the conclusion that we both have is this is going 7. I agree with you. The Spurs are the favorites in Game 6. I expect them to play better. I expect Wemby to play better from the start. And we've also seen with Wembanyama that every single time he's faced some level of adversity, he seems to respond. So, put up or shut up. apparently he didn't want to speak to the media last night. That's weak. So now that means you have to bounce back in Game 6 with an all-time performance.
Let's start there because I think Victor Wembanyama, by the media, especially the national media and especially the league, is being portrayed as the chosen one.
Yeah.
The angel. They only talk about him hanging out with monks in the offseason, and they talk about, him stretching and doing all the right things.
Right.
But it's pretty clear to me, if you watch and pay attention to the details, the minute things that he does, is he's pretty fiery as well. Let's not get around what's actually happening. The Naz Reid thing was in one of the dirtiest plays I've seen in a long time. A lot of other players get suspended an additional game for that, and maybe that series changes. There's a play in this series where he didn't like a call on the other end. He didn't get a foul. He comes down the next possession and just absolutely lowers his shoulder and runs Caruso over.
Yes.
There's chatter on the internet that Bismack Biyombo and I believe it was I think it was Kelly Olynyk maybe that came into the game.
Was it Cornette or was it Olynyk? I know what you mean. I saw the footage.
Bismack Biyombo and another bench player.
Yeah, Olynyk, because he played 2 minutes, so it was at the very end.
For Kelly Olynyk,
yeah.
There's words
You're saying there was a hit? He put a hit on?
That there might have been some money dangled over a head or two as they were checking into the game. And Victor Wembanyama, we don't know what he said. I'm not going to assume, but
he whispered something.
He whispered into Kelly Olynyk and Bismack Biyombo's ear as they were coming onto the floor. And within the next 90 seconds of gameplay, they both fouled Jared McCain pretty hard. One's a shot in the back, and one is some little extracurriculars on a block.
Well, McCain told NBA TV last night that he heard them say, and we're going to do it again.
Yeah.
So I don't think that anyone's shying away from. Raj, what were you saying there?
It was Plumlee, it was Mason Plumlee.
Right.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
It was
Okay,
Mason
so Plumlee came in
Plumlee
the game.
and
He played 2
Bismack
minutes.
Biyombo.
Same with Olynyk, both 2 minutes. And then it was also Bismack Biyombo. And Biyombo is the one that Wemby was whispering to, right, as he left the court?
And Bismack is the French,
Yes.
guy, his handler, some may say. But that's his guy, and he's going to do whatever he says.
Yeah.
But overall, what I'm getting at is Victor Wembanyama is just as fiery, plays just as much with an edge as a lot of other NBA players, and the league and the national media is trying to pull the wool over some of our eyes. But this guy is about business. He's about being physical, and him not talking to the media after the game is him throwing a tantrum, period, point blank. That's it. That's all. You can't do that. If you're this angel that everyone says you are, you come out and chat, because you can't come out and chat when things are going well and then not chat when you lose a series-turning Game 5 on the road when you have a bad game.
And I get that his point is he's not concerning himself right now in this series about being the face of the NBA. You can't be the face of the NBA and not talk to the media when you play poorly. I mean, that's such a lame look all the way around, especially, like, Sean, how you're explaining it. The league has only built up Wembanyama to this point. And quite honestly, it's not just the media's doing. It's the fans watching these games. The ratings for these Spurs games have been crazy. Like, we're talking, and I know it's a different landscape for television viewing, but we're talking that we're seeing numbers with these Spurs games throughout the playoffs that are touching Jordan-level numbers. Not quite what they did in the finals with the Bulls in 98, when the NBA will never get back to that level as far as, attention on television. But they're pretty high levels. Like, I was reading last week to Raj and Abdalla, the numbers of Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals was on a list of 10 other games. And of those 10 other games, for the most watched first game of a conference finals, it was every single Bulls-Jordan conference final. 3 of them were against the Pistons. So it was before Jordan became what he eventually became. We had a Lakers with Shaq and Kobe in there against the Kings, which was an all-time Western Conference Finals. You had LeBron in the Heatles against the Celtics right? You big name stars that everyone knew, right? So when you look at the way people are responding to the NBA product, they are responding to Wembanyama. Casual sports fans want to see this guy play at the highest level, and to lay it out there and say, if you want to be the face of the league, when you have a bad game, you can't just avoid the media. Like, that sucks. That's lame. And then if you wrap into the whole conversation of, Wembanyama has had some hard fouls here in the playoffs. Maybe he should have been disciplined for it. I was calling for it here on the show that he should have been suspended after throwing that elbow that tried to end Naz Reid's life. I mean, come on. That bow had aggression behind it. It reminds me of when Shaq tried to end Brad Miller's life. Do you remember that?
Yeah,
when
the punch.
he threw the punch at him. Yeah. It was like, oh, man.
Yeah, like if that connects, Brad might no longer be with us.
Yeah, TKO. He's gone, man. Yeah. Like, that's it. So okay. So there's that element. And then also the juxtaposition with the Thunder. A lot of the conversation with the Thunder is people don't like the Thunder because they're dirty. And they also complain, they flop, and they're cheap, right? And so if you're also stooping to that level, like, that's what I think is kind of lame about the whole thing is you can be upset with your play, you can be short with the media, but show up and talk to the media after the game. Don't go run and hide. And that's why Game 6, he's going to have to show and have the best game he's had in the playoffs to date to live up to the, quote, face of the league type of thing. Otherwise, if they lose at home and he doesn't have a great game, I think a part of the conversation would be like, yeah, Wemby, it was too tough for him. Right? Like, when everything's handed to you, you're the face of the league. But when the defending champs push you around on the road, you turn into a turtle. You crawl into a shell type of thing.
Yeah, I think that would be harsh. But it's the reality, and a lot of superstars throughout the NBA have had to deal with that, just like Jordan with the Pistons.
Yeah.
Like, they were like, the whole Jordan rules thing is like, there's a reason that was made such a big thing, and a lot of the conversation was, Jordan, they're beating Jordan up, and Jordan can't hang with him. That's it.
Yep.
Like, they found the answer to deal with Michael Jordan. Similarly here with Victor Wembanyama is they're being extremely physical. They're pushing him away from the basket. He has responded multiple times in the series to start the series and then to come back at home in a must-win game, or else they're down 3-1 going back on the road. He responded in both ways. I expect him to respond, but this is also his very first test, and we know throughout the decades of the NBA, you need a little bit of a test before you get over the hump, and he'll learn from all this stuff. But, it's very clear what they're trying to do and how they're trying to neutralize Victor, and he has to respond. And a lot of it's going to be pure physicality and just not allowing them to put you, as in Victor Wembanyama, where they want on the floor.
Yeah, and I think it starts, I think it's the Spurs offense overall, right? Like, some of this is that the other Spurs players are taking quick shots offensively, which if Wemby is only making it to around the three-point line, they are not waiting and allowing him to get into the block, get into the paint. Now, he may not want that to be his primary place to work offensively throughout the game, but I do think that if you took shots that weren't as quick in the clock, so we're talking about Castle, we're talking about Fox, Champagnie, which I thought Champagnie had a great game.
Played well, last night.
It felt like he was the only one ready to go from the start. And I like that he was aggressive because it didn't seem like anyone else was. But if you shoot shots early in the clock, you're not allowing the depth offensively of Wemby to get into the paint. And then, so it makes it easy on the Thunder. So I'm wondering if, like, a part of the game plan is, like, paint touches for Wemby early. Because, like, you don't even need him to score, but just collapsing the defense and then kicking it back out or finding the short corner, that helps the Spurs offense. I think it's just far too easy for the Thunder defensively to just keep him out by the three-point line and just allow everyone else to kind of just miss their shots, and then you're on a fast break the other way, and that's how the Thunder take advantage of it.
Yeah, well said. Also, when there have been, if you've been watching Wemby all year, you know the offensive game isn't that spectacular. When he has a good game, he's by the rim and he's dunking the ball, or he's putting it off the backboard, he's laying it up off lobs. He has an
that's what he did in game 1.
Yes, he has an astonishing game when he's doing all that and he's hitting jump shots.
Yes.
Then it's like, okay, this is the alien everybody's been talking about. Bring on the nuns. Let's pray. That's the only way we're stopping this guy, right? But those are infrequent. The vast majority of his games are offensively subdued, but he's such a monster on the defensive end that no one can score. All of your shots are hard, and then he adds a few buckets, but then guys like Devin Vassell, Stephon Castle, and the rest are producing that offense. There were a lot of games all year long where Wemby wasn't that good offensively, but he was so stout defensively that it picked up for that. Last night, he wasn't good defensively either. Yeah. He kind of just floated around on both ends of the floor, and if he's going to do that, they have absolutely zero chance to beat the Oklahoma City Thunder, whether they're in San Antonio or in Oklahoma City.
You know, and to that point, what I thought watching last night, what was noticeable is that there were multiple times it felt like he was caught in between stepping out on Caruso or committing to help defensively, where in game 1, he made every right decision defensively in those spots. I also saw this, let's see. This tweet was from last night, and it was about Caruso. Caruso is shooting 47.7% from 3 here in the postseason. That's 18% higher than he shot during the regular season from 3. During the regular season, he shot 29% from 3. And that's a guy that you would let shoot threes because you'd say, all right, he's not going to make these. It's fine. We'll live with the few that he does make, and we'll move on, and it's okay, and we'll play defense that way. 47% for Caruso here in the postseason. That is on pace to be the biggest jump for three-point percentage from the regular season to the postseason in NBA history. No other player in NBA history has shot a lower percentage during the regular season and has been as lights out as Caruso here in the postseason. And that's really what is swinging this series. The nights that Caruso is on, the Thunder are essentially unbeatable, right? But what was it? Game 4, Caruso had no points. The Spurs won. No issue. And that's the key here, is that the Thunder are just so deep that if they're getting performances like that, or McCain is hitting three-point shots, even though A.J. Mitchell's out, it doesn't matter. Jalen Williams is out. It doesn't matter. They have too many good players on offense for the Thunder. But I just thought that goes back to Wemby. It feels like he is stuck in between, where in game 1, he was all over the place, affecting everything defensively. But it does feel like the Thunder have figured that out, and they want him trapped in that 15 to 18 feet away from the basket range, where he has to decide whether or not to step out on Caruso or to take another step back towards the paint, and I think he's getting lost in between.
Caruso shooting 58% from 3 in this series. You want to know how many free throws Alex Caruso shot in the first 2 rounds combined?
Oh, probably 2?
0. He's shooting 4 a game in the conference finals. He shot 8 free throws last night. He's completely taken it to another level. He's going to the basket. He's doing whatever needs to be done. And Reggie Miller's not my favorite guy for a lot of different reasons, except he's bald and I'm bald, so we got a brotherhood there.
What's wrong with Reggie?
Just throughout the years against the Bulls and just
all right. Well,
he's not my favorite color guy either. But
I don't want him. He's okay.
He was calling Caruso chaos.
Yes.
And it's dead on.
Yeah.
He creates chaos. Whatever needs to be done, he does. And he does it at a very high level. His on-ball defense is one of the best in the league, and he doesn't turn it on until it's absolutely necessary in the playoffs. I still think once a week about how he locked up Jokic last year in the playoffs.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Caruso's insane, man.
They put Alex... There is a 7... Look, think about this for a second. There's a 7'2" guy in Chet Holmgren on the floor. You are asking the 6'3", 4 guy to guard the other 7'2" guy. You're more confident. That's how good defensively he is on ball. You're asking the 6'4" guy to guard the 7'2" guy rather than the 7'2" guy to guard the 7'2" guy. So Alex Caruso has been unbelievable. He has been the reason that they're up 3-2 in the series because SGA hasn't been efficient. Stephon Castle has been absolutely unbelievable against him on ball. The reason this is 3-2 is because of Alex Caruso.
Yeah, no doubt. That's Sean Little. I'm Chris Bleck. It's Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. Text the show at 310-840-4910. Wemby not talking to the media last night, was that weak? Was that a weak move? And what do you expect from Wemby in Game 6? You can always text the show at 310-840-4910. Yesterday in the NFL, 11 teams started their OTAs. We have 8 more teams in the NFL today that start the offseason program. There was a quarterback, one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, that was on the field yesterday. Bit of a surprise? We'll tell you about that coming up next.
Where will LeBron take his talents? Will the King continue to hang in Hollywood? Sign with Steph in Golden State? Join the Joker in Denver? Or come home to Cleveland? Find out first and what it means for the NBA on Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
This is Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
Sean Little filling in for Abdalla today as we're hanging out. Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. We'll continue getting your text messages in at 310-840-4910. Wemby, was it weak that he didn't talk to the media last night after Game 5 and the Thunder win it? So we'll keep our eyes on that as we go along. Yesterday in the NFL, we had 11 teams report for OTAs. Today, 8 more teams report around the National Football League. Patrick Mahomes was on the field in video form. That's right. Chiefs media posted a video of Patrick Mahomes out there throwing. Now, the Chiefs didn't reveal how much participation Patrick Mahomes had yesterday at OTAs, but he was out there and he was throwing, which he had the brace on his left knee after he's coming back from the injury. Now, Andy Reid a few weeks ago kind of signaled at the idea that Mahomes would be ready by the end of the month. He wouldn't give away all of his cards, but Andy Reid a couple weeks ago made it seem like Mahomes was further along than what we were maybe led to believe originally for the timeline. I think Mahomes will be ready to go for week 1. I don't think that that's going to be a question, and it's good to see that he was out there for OTAs yesterday with the Chiefs.
December 15th, 2025, that's when Patrick Mahomes had ACL and LCL surgery. That's 5.5 months ago. So that's not a huge timeline. So to see him back out there doing dropbacks, it wasn't like he was standing stationary in the video and throwing the ball and just playing a little catch. He was taking dropbacks, doing pseudo play actions, right? So phenomenal to see that he's back and on his feet, cleats on, no gym shoes. That's also a big deal as well, to be able to trust that you could, put an inch and a half or an inch in to the ground in grass and feel comfortable about pressing off of that knee, his left knee, so that step into knee. Yes. So yeah, it's all positive things to see Mahomes back in the fold and getting ready to go. And I think it's a big year for them because I think Kelsey and those guys, they're gonna have to fill in a lot of production.
Well, okay, yeah. I agree. Kenneth Walker, the third, is now the running back for the Chiefs. I agree. They're going to fill in the production. Although last year, even with guys healthy, they were a 500 team. And I think that's the false hope of the Kansas City Chiefs, is that they are still a Super Bowl contending team. I'm not sure they are. I think when you look at the rest of the AFC, we've discussed this here in the offseason. I think Buffalo and Baltimore are your two best teams today. I think you can't count out New England, although I would be concerned over the fact that their schedule, as far as strength goes, kind of flips this upcoming season. So who knows if it will be as easy as it was last year. Denver is certainly in that conversation. They got to the AFC Championship game. Bo Nix gets hurt. Otherwise, I think the Broncos get to the Super Bowl last year. There's a lot of teams in the AFC that I think are worthy of being in the conversation, of being a team that could be a Super Bowl caliber team. The way the Chiefs will get this done is if Patrick Mahomes is back playing at an MVP level. So, yes, they may need others to step up in the production, but quite honestly, I don't see this team doing anything unless Mahomes is back atop the perch of best quarterback in football level of play, right? Like, and so that's why when you see the footage of him throwing yesterday at OTAs, it's encouraging. I also think it's expected. You know, you're right, 5 months, not a long time, but in the NFL, it does feel like football players respond to the ACL surgeries a little bit quicker. This isn't basketball where it's like a full 9 to 12 month thing. So I would imagine Mahomes will be ready to go for training camp, especially like you mentioned in the video, they're showing a full drop back and step into a throw. That's stuff that you're doing with the Bryce Hunt, rehabbing, and you're not far away is the way I would look at it. But I think the Chiefs need Mahomes to be at his best if they are going to compete in the AFC.
Without a doubt. My biggest pet peeve in sports is when you have a transcendent, generational talent, especially at like a quarterback position, and you're not doing everything in your power to add weapons around him. I think the Kansas City Chiefs have been resting on their laurels and been depending too much on Patrick Mahomes for years now. It is May 27th. This is the depth chart for the Kansas City Chiefs at the wide receiver position. It's Rashee Rice, who's dealing with legal stuff out the wazoo.
He's going to be in jail during his rehab.
Every single year. Then it goes, and that's your number one, Bleck.
No, I know.
That's your guy. Okay.
He can't rehab the knee surgery that he just had because he didn't know he was going to jail.
So say Rice, we'll say he's speculative. Then it's Xavier Worthy, Tyquan Thornton, Jalen Royals. Let me know when you're being moved. Let me know when one of these guys I name is moving you at all. Then we go to Travis Kelce. Let's be honest here with Travis Kelce. He's already transitioned into the post-athlete business podcast, getting married to superstars life. You cannot balance those two. It's very difficult, especially when you're getting older and the production continues to fall off a cliff. I love Travis Kelce. I would put him ahead of Tony Gonzalez and Shannon Sharp and those guys at the tight end position. Like, he it's him and Gronk.
Yeah,
is the only
best
conversation, right?
Yeah.
Then it's Noah Gray. Like, Kenneth Walker III is a phenomenal back. But, like, that's the only guy that you bring on to help Patrick Mahomes? You have to go get some guys. We've seen it time in and time out, year in, year out. With Jokic in the NBA, with Giannis in the NBA, with Aaron Rodgers up north. Thank goodness for Chicago Bears fans like we are that they didn't just pummel talent on the offensive side for Aaron Rodgers to thrive. You see it all over. That's why you just got to shake your head when the Rams go add Ty Simpson. Go get Matthew Stafford another weapon. Because we know Puka's dealing with some things as well. So that really bothers me. So you have your guy coming off of an ACL and an LCL. He's busting his behind to get back as soon as possible, taking dropbacks 5.5 months. And the guys here he's throwing to are Xavier Worthy, Tyquan Thornton, and Noah Gray.
Yeah.
Give me a break.
No, I'm with you. I do wonder the Travis Kelce situation in the post-playing career. I wonder how the vibe will be when your fiance, your future fiance, your husband will be, right now one of the best football players of all time, best at his position, right? Champion. It's a big deal. I wonder how the vibes feel when he just turns into podcaster. I don't know. Like, is T Swift going to be ready for that when she goes from like the lifestyle change of someone who's like Super Bowl champion football player to podcaster?
No, man.
I don't know if it's the same vibe.
But that's why I
don't know if that works necessarily.
That's why you bag them when you're still at the peak of your powers. That's why you lock in the superstar pop star when you're still at the peak of your powers, winning Super Bowls and catching touchdowns in the Super Bowl. You understand what I mean? That's why you get that done early. You don't wait till after.
No,
that's why you fire off those DMs post Super Bowl.
She's gonna find out when he's just hanging around. Hey, what are you doing today? My brother and I will podcast at some point today.
Yeah, we're going to drink
when are you going to do that? There's no schedule.
We're going to drink our own beer that we created all day.
Whenever we choose. Whenever we choose to do that's the case. I mean, it is, but it is like the end for him.
Yeah.
He can still play a little, but he's no longer that player who can really carry all the weight of the offense.
And the AFC is getting better, brother.
Dude, the AFC is so good.
The AFC is getting better. Your division is getting better. The Raiders are getting better. The Chargers are getting better. Denver is going to get better and was already good.
I listed off a bunch of teams. I didn't even mention Jacksonville, Houston. Now, Houston, they have their own situation at quarterback. But their defense, the Texans' defense is Super Bowl caliber. So if C.J. Stroud could figure out anything, they're a team that's going to be really good. Jacksonville last year was a really good team. They went 13-4. I know they lost to the Bills in the playoffs, but I would imagine Trevor Lawrence is only going to take another step in that offense with Liam Cohen. So there are so many good teams that when you start rattling off the possible teams to make the playoffs, you're right. In the AFC West, there are two teams today that I think are better than the Chiefs. It's the Broncos and the Chargers. Both of those teams I would place ahead of the Chiefs today as we're entering the season. And both teams, I believe, would have Super Bowl aspirations heading into this year. This is a really tough situation. The Raiders, we'll see. We'll see how that goes. I don't think it's smart to start Kirk Cousins. I would imagine by week 6 or so, Mendoza will be in there, and then they'll start to build up from that point on. But it's a very difficult division for the Chiefs.
You could argue the Chiefs are the 7th or 8th best team in the AFC. Sincerely, I believe that with the talent they have on the roster, with Mahomes coming off an ACL, you can argue that they are the 7th or 8th best team in the AFC behind Buffalo, New England, Baltimore, Jacksonville, Denver, and the Chargers. You can argue they're behind all of those teams coming into a year with Mahomes coming off a serious knee injury.
That's Sean Little. I'm Chris Bleck. It's Bleck and Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. Pollen season is here, but a dirty car doesn't have to be. Wash away with Tidal Wave Auto Spa for a quick wash and that clean car, happy feeling. Find a location at TidalWaveAutoSpa.com. We were talking earlier about the different teams that have a chance at the Super Bowl and the win now mentality. The Rams, they used the 13th pick of the draft on Ty Simpson. Simpson spoke to Sports Illustrated, and he will tell us coming up next what he's learned to this point from Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford. We'll talk about that coming up next.
The Knicks are headed to the NBA Finals for the first time since 1999. Back then, we had dial-up internet. Livin' La Vida Loca topped the charts. And the world was worried about Y2K. Yeah, it's been a while. Congrats, Big Apple. Party like it's 1999. Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will be in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
This is Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
Make sure you check out our YouTube channel, like and subscribe to Bleck and Abdalla's show. Sean Little filling in for Abdalla today as we're hanging out, talking a little football with you at 310-840-4910. You can also text the show at the same line. So the Rams use their 13th pick in the NFL draft, first round, on a quarterback. You're a team that should be competing for a championship. How is a quarterback that needs development going to help you in the next couple of seasons? It's a debate we've talked about here at length on the show, Sean, where Adam has definitely been in the camp that they should have selected someone to help them win now, right? Try and win a Super Bowl now. I don't know if we can have a definitive answer to how this plays out for like 5 to 7 years. Because
no way, that's too long.
Well, but here's the thing. If Matthew Stafford plays one more season, 2 more seasons, and then after that, Ty Simpson's ready to go, and for the next 10 years, they make the playoffs because he's a serviceable / good quarterback, I could be persuaded that that was the right decision. I wouldn't do it. I would be building for right now because I also don't really believe in Ty Simpson. So I don't think we're going to have a definitive answer until we're like, quarterbacks play forever now. Like the example that I think we looked up last week was like Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins has won 2 divisions in his time in the various stops, Washington, Minnesota, Atlanta, and now with Vegas. Do we really think that Ty Simpson's going to be better than Kirk Cousins? I don't know. I find it kind of hard to believe. So, yeah, if he doesn't win more than 2 divisions in the next 7 years, then yeah, those like Abdalla who think that the Rams should have used that 13th pick on a player right now, they're going to be right. But if in those years they go to the NFC Championship game 3 different times, you could say, well, yeah, they got their quarterback for the future, so it made sense. And I think that's the conversation. Like, I don't think we can have a definitive answer on whether or not it was right or wrong for quite some time into the future.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's always tough. And the one thing I hate about the draft in any sport is that I get on television or on the radio with my guy Bleck, and I have to disparage 20-year-old kids and tell them I don't think they're any good. Like, that's my worst part of the draft.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like doing that, right?
Yeah.
But it's part of the game. And when you make big dollars and you're in the spotlight, this is just comes with the territory. I'm of the camp, you just don't want any question marks even floating around in Matthew Stafford's head.
Yeah.
Like, why would you go get that guy? Why would you go get a Jordan Love if you're Aaron Rodgers? Do you remember what Tom Brady did when there was any inkling of Jimmy Garoppolo's name being the successor of him? He marched into Kraft's office and said, get him out of here.
Trade him.
I don't care what Bill Belichick says. He wants to keep him around. He's going to do this, do that. I want him out of the locker room. I don't want him in my quarterback room. I don't want there being any questions when I drop back and throw an interception about could Jimmy Garoppolo come in and maybe make an impact. That's just what it is. So I just don't understand the play overall. When we talk about Super Bowl windows opening and closing, they still have a window. We were just in the NFC Championship and lost to the eventual Super Bowl champion. Like, we're still in the window. And Matthew Stafford, remember last year coming into the season, I was worried because it was Matthew Stafford's back is hurting, and we were like 10 days out from the season starting. And I was like, man, that's not a good look. He shook that off and had a very, very good year. Very, very good as in the MVP. So now you win MVP, you go to the NFC Championship, and then the first pick off the board, which is a reach by a lot of people that are experts in the NFL draft, is a quarterback.
Yeah.
It's no matter what you say, you're spitting in Matthew Stafford's face, even if it's just a little bit.
Here's Ty Simpson. He was on with Sports Illustrated talking about the criticism of the Rams picking him at 13.
Yeah, I really didn't care, to be honest with you. You know, everybody has can have an opinion. But, it's my job to just take care of my business. And so, the Rams took me with the 13th overall pick. So now it's my job to be the best player I can be, the best Ty I can be, and go out there and prove them right. So I don't really listen to all that. My job is to, make sure whatever the team needs me to do to win. And that's what I'm going to do.
Ty Simpson also went on, speaking to Sports Illustrated, about learning from Matthew Stafford and Sean McVay.
It's great. I mean, sitting in the room with Matthew, it is super, super fun. I mean, dude's awesome. Like, he's just a A+ guy, A+ player. I think the tape shows that. And then, being there with Sean and all my teammates, it's really, really cool. I mean, not only do I fully believe that, we have the best team, but, I fully believe that we have, the best people as well. And it's not just about football. It's about, how people treat you. And there's not been a guy in that locker room who I haven't, had a good experience with. So, I'm really looking forward to, getting to know them better and building good relationships and, having fun experiences.
So there you go, Ty Simpson. Sean, I'll say this.
Tape does say that, by the way.
Yes, it does. I don't fancy myself as someone that's a large individual. About 5'10", 5'11" on a good hair day, perhaps, like 160, 165, depending on how much running I'm doing at the time, right? Like
the large male.
I'm not a large male, as they would say. The one thing that struck me, Sean, when we were at the NFL draft. So draft night, all of the individuals that are there in person, they walked across the stage. They got their team hat. They got a chance to give Roger Goodell a big hug. And then they go backstage. And backstage, that's where the Bleck and Abdalla show was sitting. And we were able to talk to all of the players that were there on draft night. When Ty Simpson sat down next to me and Abdalla, the very first thing I thought of was, that's an NFL quarterback? And I'm not trying to take shots because you're right. Like when we are talking about 20, 21-year-old, 22-year-old individuals who are living out their dreams, you don't want to crush it. But I kept thinking to myself, man, I'm sitting here next to Ty Simpson, who was just selected by the Rams 13th overall in the NFL draft. And he doesn't look like a huge individual. You know, some of the players that sat down, you know, some of the offensive linemen that sat down, like Francis Mauigoa, that dude's that's a big dude, right? Like that guy plays offensive line, right? Like that's a big individual. But when Ty Simpson sat down, I was like, wow, okay. All right, especially with all the concerns about how little he's played in college, coming into the NFL and all of the development that he's going to need. Okay. There are quarterbacks who are shorter who have played and produced in the NFL. But usually you've been around enough pro athletes doing this for a long enough period of time that when you see a pro athlete, they look a certain way. They don't look like me. And yes. I guess that's what I was getting to is like sitting next to Ty Simpson. I was thinking to myself, man, okay, good luck, Rams.
Combine measurements are 6'1"1/8", 211, hand size 9 3/8 inches.
Do they have a weight on him?
211.
211? Yeah, all right. I mean, I guess if he's 50 pounds heavier than I am, I don't know.
Now, overall,
in the suit, it didn't look that impressive.
It might have been a baggy suit. But yeah, look,
baggy suit.
6'1", 210 is not that big.
No.
I was floored. There's I don't want to say the name just so I don't get in trouble, but there's a guy on
NBA player.
There's a guy on the Bears roster.
Oh,
we were chatting about different things, and he said Caleb Williams was almost pushing 230 on the scale.
He's a tank, man.
Like that's what I'm getting at.
He has tree trunks for legs.
Tree trunks for legs.
Yeah.
He's like, you wouldn't think that.
Yeah.
Like
thick.
You don't think that.
Yes.
Like the first thing you think of when you think of Caleb Williams is not like he's a big dude.
Right.
But this guy is almost 230, and he's moving the way he's moving. That's what Bleck is getting at. Is like, there's guys in the NFL. There's guys moving the way Caleb Williams are moving, and he's almost 230.
Yeah, right.
This guy's 6'1", 210, and has played, I don't know, 15, 16 college games.
And
right?
that's why when he sat down next to Abdalla, I looked and we started the interview, and while we were talking, in my head I was like, he's about the same size as I am.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Sean Little is in for Abdalla today. It's Bleck and Abdalla. We're going to talk a little basketball next. The Knicks, we'll talk about it.
This is Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
This is Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
That's right, Bleck and Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports, the Westwood One Sports app, Sirius XM Channel 375, all of our great radio affiliates around the country. I'm Chris Bleck along with Sean Little today, filling in for Abdalla. We are on the air until 3 Eastern, taking your calls and your texts at 310-840-4910. Hanging out, talking a little basketball with you. Last night, the Thunder win Game 5, 127-114. So now the Thunder take a 3-2 lead in the Western Conference Final. And as we wait for the winner of the Western Conference Final. We know that the New York Knicks are already in. They're in the NBA Finals. And what a year for the New York Knicks. What a run here in the playoffs. 11 straight wins. And essentially, the way I like watching this Knicks team is that they are a team. Jalen Brunson's obviously their best player. But when you get all of the different pieces, Anunoby, Karl Anthony Towns, Shamet off the bench, all these different pieces contributing, it has been a fun watch to see the Knicks get to this point. And now they wait. The NBA Finals will not start until June 3rd, which is next Wednesday night. So they've got time. The Knicks will have 7 full days until the first game of the NBA Finals. And we will watch the Western Conference Finals and see how that plays out. But the story of the New York Knicks to this point has been pretty remarkable.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a lot of fun and a long time coming for a lot of fans, and it's been a long time coming for these last 3 years. They signed Jalen Brunson. Questions around that decision are, is he overpaid? Can he be the guy? And he clearly is the guy. There's not very many stars that elevate to a stratospheric level in the playoffs when it matters the most, and Jalen Brunson is one of those guys.
Yeah.
There's the very, very, very short list. And he has consistently done it year in, year out, over and over and over again in crunch time in the fourth quarter. So the story's been awesome. I tweeted yesterday, as much as you need superstars, so you you sign Brunson for the $100 million, and then he takes the discount on the extension. You trade for Cat. You burn a bunch of picks for Mikal Bridges, who's been awesome in this playoffs. You go trade for Josh Hart, OG Anunoby. You add all these guys. You still need role players, and I tweeted this yesterday. Landry Shamet and Deuce McBride this season made a combined $7 million. 7. And they have been absolutely imperative to the success of the New York Knicks in this playoff run. Landry Shamet, Deuce McBride, a combined $7 million. That is unbelievable. Then you talk about them extending Mitchell Robinson on the bird rights. Mitchell Robinson is going to be, if they play the Spurs, Mitchell Robinson is going to be asked to be the physical Isaiah Hartenstein body up with Wemby over and over again. Not Karl Anthony Towns, not the big money guy making $47, $48 million.
Yeah.
It's going to be these role players that they exercise the bird rights on. So the Knicks have made a lot of really, really good decisions, and they're coming to fruition here right now in the finals as they sit.
Yeah, and so when we look at, the sports landscape right now, and the question that's floated out there, are the Knicks right now the best story in sports? Are they the best story this year in sports? And I think that if and when they win the NBA Finals, we could have that conversation. I think it's a little early. Now, I'm not willing to say they can't beat OKC or San Antonio. I think when you get into these series and the matchups take place and you actually have to play the games, it's much easier and it's quite lazy to just be like, the West will just win it.
Yeah.
I think this team has heart. And they also, have Josh Hart. They got both, right? Like, I wasn't saying it to be funny, but, I think that when they get into games, you could see that they have a way where they know how to win games, even if not everything is working well or perfectly for them. And there's a little grit, a little grind. And I know that Mike Brown's the head coach now, but it feels very Thibodeau at times. He may be pushed too hard, and that's why they're having success now. That Mike Brown kind of laid off a little and not making the entire offensive schematics around Jalen Brunson running everything, running some of that out of the high post from Cat has made a lot of sense for this team. It's opened up shooters and been able to take advantage of it. But I'm not willing to say the Knicks can't win the finals. If they do, that could be the story of the year.
It would be the story of the year, I think, if they won the finals.
Yeah.
And Bleck makes a very good point about just them having heart and having a little bit of edge. I was in New York. I was covering the Knicks for MSG throughout this entire run. 2 years ago, when OG went down, they were up 2-0 against the Pacers. They ended up losing that series. But OG goes down with a hamstring. They were just tired and beat up, and that was partly the Thibodeau conversation of they're not playing enough players. But that offseason, they lose Isaiah Hartenstein, edge, grinder, physical guy. They lose Dante DiVincenzo, edge, grinder, physical guy. And they replace them, if we're being honest, with a lot softer guys. Guys that don't have that edge that they could bring to the floor, i.e. Mikal Bridges. He doesn't play with an edge. That's not his game. He's a guy that shows up every single game, Iron Man, and is a utility guy. You come into this season, you add the edge back. You go get a guy like Jose Alvarado. You go get a guy like Landry Shamet, who legitimately, maybe 16 months ago, the Knicks added, cut, and re-added as like a two-way guy. This guy was not far away from fighting to stay in the league.
Yeah.
Like, those are the edge guys you need on the squad.
It's a cool story.
Yeah. So you lose a ton of edge in DiVincenzo and Hartenstein, and you finally get some back. And I really think that, combined with adding Mike Brown as a coaching change, has really pushed them over the top.
All right. So if you say, hey, Bleck, Sean, when you guys look at this and you say the minutes and how different it is under Thibodeau compared to Mike Brown this past season. All right. Here are the minutes from the 2024-25 season. So the last year with Thibodeau. Starting 5 regular season minutes. Karl Anthony Towns averaged 35 minutes a night. Jalen Brunson, 35 minutes a night. OG Anunoby, 36 minutes a night. Mikal Bridges, 37 minutes a night. Josh Hart, 37. So that was the starting 5 under Thibodeau in his last season. This year, with Mike Brown, here's the starting 5. Josh Hart, 30. So he's playing almost 7 minutes less per game throughout this regular season. Karl Anthony Towns, 31. Mikal Bridges, 32. OG Anunoby, 33. And Jalen Brunson, 35. Jalen Brunson minutes didn't really change, but everyone else in the starting lineup were playing considerably less minutes in the regular season this year for the New York Knicks under Mike Brown compared to Tom Thibodeau. So you got to give the credit. Like, I am a hard supporter of Tom Thibodeau. I think he's a fantastic NBA head coach. I think it's a crime that he's not coaching a team right now. I'm surprised that one of the teams that had an open position here in this coaching cycle since the season ended didn't swoop in and take Thibs, right? Like, I'm very surprised by that. You can't argue with the results that the Knicks have a year after Thibodeau is no longer there, running them into the ground. You can't argue with it.
They've looked fresh. They dusted teams off. The Philadelphia 76ers got absolutely dusted. The Cleveland Cavaliers, the Knicks blew their doors off after they woke up in the first game after being down 20-plus in the fourth quarter. They dusted them off after that. They made them quit. They beat them up. Submissive. They just gave up. And regardless of what Cleveland said on the mic after the game, they were beat up, outplayed, and the Knicks looked fresh. And that a lot to do with that is the less amount of minutes they played in regular season. I might be wrong on this, but I want to say those 2 years, Josh Hart led the league in minutes, the entire NBA.
Under Thibodeau?
Yeah, and he broke down in the playoffs just like OG Anunoby broke down. So it was an adjustment. And also, you would argue Tom Thibodeau never would have gotten these performances out of Landry Shamet because Landry Shamet would have been under the bench. If Tom Thibodeau's MO was if he didn't trust you, you didn't get on the floor. And the only way you get trust is if you get on the floor and produce, right? So, like, there's a real argument that I'm not sure we would have seen Landry Shamet be able to go 80+% from 3 in the series because I'm not sure how many minutes he would have gotten.
Yeah, and I think, that all adds to the story of the New York Knicks. And if we ask, like, if they win the finals, would this be the biggest story of the sports year? I would also respond and say, all right, Sean, what are we counting for the sports year? To me, when you say what's the best story of the sports year, I'm still thinking like school year type of year, not like 365 from this date forward. So like I'm still looking at Indiana football winning the national title as it's not just the sports story of the year. That's probably going to be the sports story of the decade. The fact that Indiana football, the second losingest program in college football history, won a national title, to me is a sports story that when you say what's the best sports story of the year, I know it took place in January. So to me, it's still Indiana football. I'm not going to look at either of the teams that won in the tournament, men's and women's side. It's not quite the same as the Knicks getting to the finals. But I do feel like there is a support in New York City for the Knicks that's different than perhaps other NBA teams in other cities and other sports teams in other cities. There's just a connection there. And I think some of this, and I've talked about it with Chicago Bulls fandom, that there's a aliveness to a city when the NBA and the NHL playoffs are taking place because the weather finally turns. Mm-hmm. So everyone's outside. Everyone wants to get together and have watch parties. And like, it's just a different vibe than when, say, football teams are winning because it's cold in a lot of cities, right?
Sure.
And like
absolutely.
Like everyone wants to be outside now. And this upcoming week in New York City, when the Knicks are in the finals, like it's going to be popping. Like it's going to be awesome. So Raj put in the chat some of the other options. Could the Knicks going to the finals be bigger than the Cowboys going to the Super Bowl?
The answer is no.
If the Knicks win, like I think it's a very regional thing. I know Knicks fans travel, and you clearly saw it here in the playoffs, the fact that they show up to Cleveland and Philly and take over. But the Cowboys are a bigger story. If the Cowboys got to the Super Bowl, that would be a bigger story than the Knicks winning the finals.
Bigger sport. The biggest team in the biggest sport is going to be the biggest story in sports if they go to the Super Bowl, which is the biggest event we have in this country.
Now, I could see the next one, the Yankees winning the World Series. Yankees fans, you've done this. It's the norm. You expect to win. The Knicks haven't won in forever, right? So
1973.
The Knicks winning the title would be bigger than the Yankees winning the World Series, I would think, from my perspective.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it all depends where your heart lies. I think this is a very personal question. Like, to go back to the Indiana thing, if your heart lies and you're a big college football fan, then, I mean, it's hard to beat that story. That seemed 3 years ago. It's just unfathomable that you would even think
happen.
That it can't. It's impossible.
Like pick a terrible team in college football, just anywhere. Like just pick a random team and say, "Oh yeah, in 2 years that's going to be the best team in college football." You would never believe it.
It would be like right now picking Rutgers,
right,
to win the national title in 2 years. You'd be like, "Dude, it's impossible."
No,
I'll give you whatever odds you want. That would never, ever, ever happen. And it happened.
Now, the final team on the list, Notre Dame. If Notre Dame won the national championship, would that be bigger than the Knicks? I don't think so. I think Notre Dame is the team that everyone likes to dislike.
I hate Notre Dame.
Yeah, so do I.
Everything about Notre Dame, I can't get behind.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'll give them credit.
And Brian Kelly made it worse, by the way.
Of course he did. That guy sucks. No doubt. I'll give credit to this, though. If you ever get a chance to go to South Bend, Indiana to see a football game, do it because it is surprisingly underrated how great Notre Dame Stadium is. It is cool. It is really cool. It's nice inside. It's got the old school vibes. They've got history around the city. It's great.
Football Jesus.
I'm a USC fan, so I've actually been to multiple USC Notre Dame games down there.
Awesome.
It's great. It's a great experience. I wish my team was better.
But how did that happen?
I went to
O.J. Simpson guy?
Yes. When OJ was in the white Bronco, I thought to myself, from this day on, I will be a USC fan. Absolutely.
I had to, Bleck. I'm sorry. I had to go there. Sorry.
We're right about at the time, in the next like 3 weeks, we're going to get all the OJ docs that are out there on ESPN and everything because June 17th is the day that he went on the Bronco chase. So we'll get all the remembering footage of all that stuff. Yeah, there's probably no person that you will come across that watches more or reads more books about the O.J. Simpson trial than I have.
Oh, interesting.
I'm obsessed with that stuff. It's wild. It's wild that took place. Like, that's what I can't get past. Is like all of that happened. We lived through it.
Yeah, the O.J. That's
wild.
I've never been really enthralled with a sports documentary like I was with the OJ 4-part documentary.
Yeah, Made in America on ESPN.
Oh my! If you haven't seen that, go watch that ASAP on a rainy day.
Yeah.
Bang out all 4 episodes. What a insane story.
It is probably, not only is it the best sports documentary ever made, it's probably the best thing ESPN has ever produced.
It's insane.
That's how good the O.J. Simpson documentary Made in America is.
So you're an OJ guy.
No, I mean, to answer your question, I went to Columbia College in Chicago. They don't have sports. And I used to, we had family that lived in the West Coast, and so we would travel to L.A. often. And as a young kid, I thought the Pete Carroll years were cool, and I just stuck with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I've just been a USC fan ever since.
Lendell White, Reggie, Matt
Liner,
Carson Palmer.
Yep.
All of us there. They had the guys, man.
Yeah, John David Booty.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mark Sanchez. Yeah, they're all there.
Sanchez was really good.
He was good at USC.
Yes,
he was very, very good at USC. Yeah, so that's how that. Yeah, no, a big OJ guy. You're right.
Really quick, best performance I've ever seen live from a college player, Matt Barkley. I went to ASU.
Okay, yeah.
Matt Barkley, Ken, I remember thinking this guy is going to be a monster in the pros. I think he threw 5 touchdowns at in Tempe at that Arizona State Stadium. Awesome performance. Shout out Matt Barkley.
Matt Barkley is the example of someone who stayed too long in college. And then they were kind of exposed as like maybe not as good as people
Didn't
thought
get that
he
extra
would.
runway.
Well, and that's where, because as a true freshman, he took USC into the horseshoe against Ohio State, and they won. And so I was like, from the moment he was on campus, he was like, okay, this is the next guy. Yeah. He's going to win the Heisman. He's going to be... and he stayed too long, and he was okay. He had a nice career in the NFL as a backup for a very long time. So, I loved Matt Barkley. I was a big Matt Barkley guy.
I'll never forget that performance live.
Yeah,
I was there in color. He was awesome.
Yeah, Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. Sean Little in for Abdalla today. We're hanging out. We're gonna play a little stock watch coming up. Patrick Mahomes, stock up or stock down? We'll do that next.
Remember Deshaun Watson? He's been on IR the last 19 months. And now, the front-runner to be the Browns starter. But Shedeur Sanders and Dylan Gabriel are coming for the job. As always, the quarterback carousel in Cleveland is one to watch. Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
This is Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
That's right, Bleck and Abdalla hanging out with you until 3 Eastern right here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. Live from Chicago, Sean Little hanging out in for Abdalla today. And each time at this time on the show, each day, we get a chance to go on out to Colorado, parts unknown, to bring in Raj Sharon. Yep.
And the next question comes from the line of Raj Sharan with Westwood One. Please proceed.
Please proceed as Raj joins us now for Stock Watch. Hello, Raj.
Hello, Bleck. Hello, Sean. Sad days here in parts unknown after our Avs got swept away by the Vegas Golden Knights. last night, but hopefully you guys can cheer me up today with a little bit of stock watch. I have full confidence that Sean is going to dominate this segment as usual. Sean, yes. Bleck is like taking my 8-year-old daughter down the candy aisle at the grocery store and being like, hey, would you like that? Yes. Yep. Would you like that? Yes. He buys everything. Okay. So I have confidence, Sean, you're going to be a much more shrewd Warren Buffett-like investor today on Stock Watch.
Hey, Raj, maybe we're the goofballs. Market's at an all-time high.
Yeah,
Bleck's been buying everything, you know. You know what I mean?
Point. It is a buyer's market, right? That's a bull market, right? A bull market. All right, we're going to start off. All right, we're going to start off Stock Watch today, Sean, with somebody we talked about a little bit earlier on in the show, on the field, day one of OTAs, knee brace and all. Are you buying or selling stock in the multi-time Super Bowl MVP, Patrick Mahomes?
I'm never selling stock in Mahomes because I always think he will overcome whatever's in front of him. I think he's in a really bad position because of what we shed light on earlier. There's nobody around him. If this question said Chiefs, I would sell, honestly. But Mahomes, I'll buy all day. He's too good. He's too focused. I think he's just a different level of a talent, especially with Andy Reid still pulling the strings.
Raj, I'm going to buy just because if the question is, like, what are the expectations for this upcoming season, I'm going to buy on the fact that Mahomes will be ready. I'm going to buy on the fact that he's going to be back to playing great football. I also think, like, if we're looking at the trajectory of his career, I don't think that we've hit the point where Mahomes won't be one of the top 3 or 4 quarterbacks in the NFL. I'm guessing at the end of this upcoming season, he'll still be, all right, who's the best quarterback in the NFL? That will be the question asked, and the response will be, well, it's either Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes on any given week. I think that's the case. I think Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson are right behind those two, but those are the 2 best quarterbacks in the NFL, so I'm still buying on Patrick Mahomes, absolutely.
All right, Bleck, we got a little breaking news, and that'll come in on the next one on Stock Watch from Shams Charania. The NBA has warned Victor Wembanyama for violating media access rules. He was warned, no fine. Next up on Stock Watch, coming up after a quiet night last night, and then not talking to the media, are you buying or selling Wemby? Bleck?
I'm going to buy Wemby. I'm going to buy. Every single time he's faced adversity, he's shown up. I'm expecting him to do the same in Game 6 on Thursday and to force a Game 7. I think he is an all-time great in the making. We'll see if the career lives up to it. It seems like he has all the pieces there. He just needs to go out and compete. So I'm going to buy on Wembanyama.
I'm also going to buy. I mean, the proof's in the pudding. Believe your eyes. What you're seeing is something you've never seen before. He's not even 23 years old.
Yeah.
He hasn't even been in the league 4 years yet. He already has a DPOY. He already has him and a bunch of other 20, 21-year-olds in the Western Conference Finals and actually pushing the champs to a Game 6, potentially even a Game 7. Buy as much as you can Victor Wembanyama stock. But a warning is asinine.
Yeah, Raj, do you want to go to the next, or can we mention this for a second?
Go ahead, flush it out.
Okay, so he's being warned. I saw this earlier today. Tom Haberstraw pointed out that the NBA fined Jimmy Butler $25,000 for ducking the post-game media availability in the 2023 East Finals. So same situation, conference finals, Jimmy Butler did not talk to the media in 2023, and he was fined $25K. And Wemby gets off with nothing again after he threw that elbow where he should have been suspended. If you're a Thunder fan, the only way to view this is that the league is covering for Wembanyama. That's the only way to view both of these situations, is that the league desperately needs Wemby to be the face of the league, and they are covering for Wemby.
You can go back to one of my favorite series chatter moments. Dylan Brooks, if you remember this.
Yeah.
2023, he chirped about LeBron and the Lakers for weeks. Couldn't wait to see him in the playoffs. He was going to lock up LeBron. He was going to do this. He was going to do that. Lakers dusted, and LeBron dusted off Memphis in that playoff series. In the last game of that series, Dylan Brooks did not talk to the media. Very soft play for how much he was chirping. $25,000 fine. They are handling Victor Wembanyama with kid gloves at every step of the way. It's clear. This is the issue with Silver that a lot of people have. Just keep it even.
Like, what is it? Is it because he's French? Is it because he's well-spoken? Like, what are we doing here? If anyone else were to have done this, he would have been fine.
He knows he has to talk to the media. There was people there telling him, you have to speak to the media. He ignored them and left the building. It's a fine 10 out of 10 times every single time.
It's a you know who we're going to sell, Raj? We're going to sell on Adam Silver. I'm selling on Silver. This is once again terrible look for the NBA. And I get the scenario. Like, finding Wembanyama doesn't affect Game 6. Now, if you threw an elbow and it's like, well, if you don't play Wembanyama, they're likely to lose the series. Well, I mean, those are the breaks, right? Like, don't throw an elbow like that. But earlier against the Timberwolves, I thought he should have been suspended for a game.
Clear favoritism.
That's crazy to me. All right, Raj, thanks.
All right, guys.
For bringing that
Sean,
up and letting us talk about it.
No problem. Sean, let's head up to New England, where Joe Mazzulla was named the NBA's Coach of the Year. They had an overachieving regular season, but they get bounced in the first round of the playoffs. We got Jaylen Brown doing Twitch streams and going at Stephen A. Smith. So I ask you, do you buy or sell the head coach of the Celtics, Joe Mazzulla?
Argue with your grandma.
Yeah, thank you, Jaylen Brown. Argue with your grandma. Yeah.
I am buying Mazzulla. I think he's a good coach. I think it's a regular season award as well. And for him to lose Tatum and for him to keep that team playing at the high level that he did with essentially not a lot of bench guys. You got Mimi Keita starting at center before starting the year. I think he had started like 6 or 7 games. He ended up being a big-time big man. Derek White probably had the worst regular season of his entire career. They still were kept afloat by Joe Mazzulla and Jaylen Brown. I have no problem with him getting the Coach of the Year award, and I would gladly have him coach the Chicago Bulls. So that's a buy for me on Joe Mazzulla.
Yeah, I'm going to buy Mazzulla as well, Raj. I think the Celtics and what they accomplished before the playoffs was not expected. No one expected the Celtics this past season to be the spot that they were in, the 2nd seed. I think everyone expected them to take a major step back without Tatum. Unfortunately, the Sixers showed up for a week and a half and they beat them in the first round. How about that for the Celtics? You get the executive of the year, you get the coach of the year, and you get a first-round exit. How often do you see that?
Not often.
The team that wins both of those awards not even getting out of the first round. So, I'm going to buy on Mazzulla, though. I agree with Sean. I think he's a good coach.
All right, Bleck, next up, I can hear Abdalla yelling, terrible position value, terrible positional value. The Chargers yesterday gave a near $76 million extension to their All-Pro, but he's a safety, Derwin James. Are you buying or selling, paying that sort of money for safety, Derwin James, Bleck?
Okay, so I do feel like people are trying to convince us of this idea that positional value for a safety that can play in the box and also getting coverage, maybe they are more than just your typical safety. Derwin James is one of the best in all of the NFL. So there is no doubt that he deserves a contract like that. I just don't know if I want to be paying my safety that when I need guys to get after the quarterback or to do other things on the roster. I'm going to sell on Derwin James. I think I can find safety play elsewhere. I would rather spend the money and allocate that on other positions. So I'm going to sell Derwin James.
This is a tough one because let me give you a little secret on some of these NFL contracts. Never, ever, 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 ever pay attention to the final number. Just pay attention to the guaranteed number.
Guaranteed is all that matters.
The guaranteed number is $57.5 million over 3 years. That comes out to $19.1 million a year. He's 29 years old, still hasn't broken 30. He's the linchpin of that D. Now, Kyle Hamilton 25.1. Kirby Joseph for Detroit, 21.5. Antoine Winfield for Tampa is 21. Derwin James is at 19.1. We're talking about guaranteed dollars. So, does it seem like a big number? Sure. Are they able to wiggle out of that after a year and a half or two? Absolutely. And 19.1 is about market rate for a big-time safety. And he is a game changer. He's shown that. So, the answer is I'll buy year one.
Year one.
All right, and Sean, finally, he analytically just beat the New York Knicks, and now he's coming back to be the head coach of the Cleveland Cavaliers. Are you buying or selling the returning Kenny Atkinson in Cleveland?
I got to sell this overall. I don't understand the decision being made so quickly. It's unnecessary.
Well, when you analytically win a series, I mean, come on.
You just got run off the floor. You put your foot in your mouth on the mic and say that. I just don't know why they had to commit so quickly to Kenny Atkinson. Now, it's a tough business. The last couple years, they've won, almost 120-plus games in the regular season. They've been really, really good. Yeah. The roster construction is suspect. It sounds like they're just going to run it back, add James Harden to some more guaranteed money, give him a multi-year deal. I'm going to sell it because I think with a team like the Knicks, who are their arch nemesis multiple years now, they have shown they cannot compete with them, and they're only getting better. Something has to change, and I think the head coach changing, similar to what the Knicks did, was probably your easiest way to change the culture a little bit there, and they didn't do that.
Yeah, I'm selling. Big time sell, Raj, on Atkinson. I do think, I understand what he was saying to the media about analytically, they were playing the game they wanted to play, but the outcome didn't match it. As a head coach, you don't say that to the media because you can say that in the room because everyone in the room understands what's going on. You say it to the media, and then you see the headline saying the Cavs analytically won the series, and then everyone makes fun of you. So you can't do that. I think the lack of calling a timeout at the end of game one and the lack of some of the decisions made where clearly the Knicks knew to just hunt James Harden and put him in every screen and roll action throughout the series, and the fact that the Cavs had nothing to combat that, you got to go to the head coach. He needs to be fired. I'm shocked that the news came out yesterday that the Cavs are already bringing him back for next season. Okay, I guess the only hope for the Cavs to improve next season is hoping that LeBron James wants to join the roster in this offseason.
And lastly, really quick, the no timeout in game one is a great point. And then for you essentially to make no real adjustments in game three and game four on your home floor. And it looked like overall the team pretty much quit.
Yeah.
There's only one person you can look at. And then you come out and don't take full responsibility on the microphone. And then when you look in the camera, there's only one guy that has to pack up his bags, and that's the head coach.
In the ultimate life comes at you fast, is it crazy to think, guys, game one, the Cavs were up 22 points at the Garden over the Knicks. And imagine where we are now today. That does it for Stockwatch. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Raj. Parts unknown in Colorado. Raj Sharon hanging out with Bleck Abdalla and Sean Little in for Abdalla today. Yeah, I mean, Sean, I felt good about that in the fourth quarter because I was the one that said that, of the two teams to advance the Eastern Conference Finals, I thought the Cavs would give the Knicks the best series. Didn't think either team could beat the Knicks. I think the Knicks are playing that well right now. But I thought that the Cavs could at least give them a series. And so, halfway into the fourth quarter of game one, I'm like, all right, I was on this.
Yeah.
I got this. And then, of course, James Harden and Atkinson had to take place. Unreal. Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports, sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Save on commercial auto insurance from Progressive. Get a fast quote at progressivecommercial.com. Will we have 18 games in the NFL season for each team in 2027? Sounds like we have new information on that. Could we have an 18-game schedule? I'll tell you about that story coming up next.
The Knicks are headed to the NBA Finals for the first time since 1999. Back then, we had dial-up internet. Livin' La Vida Loca topped the charts. And the world was worried about Y2K. Yeah, it's been a while. Congrats, Big Apple. Party like it's 1999. Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will be in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
It's Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
Check out the YouTube channel, Bleck and Abdalla Show. Like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We have the live stream up each and every day. Abdalla's off today. Sean Little filling in for Abdalla as we're hanging out here on Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. So Pro Football Talk has an article up right now. Expansion to 18 games by 2027 is highly unlikely. Still not impossible, but Florio goes on to write that it seems like everything he's hearing, that it is unlikely we will get an 18-game schedule by 2027. Why is this important? The NFL owners want to expand to 18 games for every team, and there is the Super Bowl of that year. We don't have a date yet. And so the reason we don't have a date is because everyone thinks the owners are going to push through and get 18 games added to the schedule, thus would push back the Super Bowl date an additional week. So that's why that date in Atlanta is not set at the moment, even though there are other Super Bowl dates in the future that have an actual date attached to them. And from what Florio is pointing to is that it doesn't seem likely, highly unlikely that is going to happen by 2027. So, Sean, I don't think I need more football. I like the football the way it is. I'm not going up for seconds. The serving that they give us, I think, is perfect. I think there's a reason people are obsessed with the NFL and obsessed with football. It's because there's a scarcity to it. And that's why we love it the way it is. I don't need an additional game to play 18 games every single season.
You add an 18th game, the Super Bowl gets pushed back a week, which then makes that Monday President's Day.
Yeah.
So you get that. You get a little holiday on Super Bowl Sunday.
Which is the way it falls this year.
Oh, is that true?
Yeah, this year the Super Bowl falls on, I believe it's the 14th. I believe it's Valentine's Day, and then the following Monday is President's Day. So this is like, you're going to hear about it when we get to that point, you know, in early 2027 that like, oh, this is the way it should always be. That's what people are going to push for, no doubt.
Hey, Roger Goodell, this is where I agree with you 100%. Look, hey, Roger, why not just make it 20 games even? Why not make it 22 games? Why even argue about 18? Let's just go to 22, Roger. Listen to the revenue from the NFL. 2019-2020, they profited $16 billion.
Yeah.
2021, COVID impacted $12 billion. 21-22, $17 billion. 2022-2023, $18 billion. 2023-2024, $20 billion. Last year, $23 billion. How much more money do we need to make?
All of it.
I don't understand. Like, the whole conversation about moving it to 17 was purely greed and money. 18 is purely greed and money. We talk about building new stadiums for some of these guys. Do you think the league chips in? No, the league doesn't chip in. The taxpayers chip in a vast amount of money every single time. When we talk about the overall health of players, we're told in press conferences it's number one. Well, then make every team produce grass fields that are clearly scientifically proven to be less impactful on the joints, less impactful on head trauma when it hits the turf.
Yeah,
this is all
true.
Scientifically proven. Why not make every owner put grass in their stadium? They don't make them do that because it'd be too expensive to flip some of these stadiums into grass only and maintain. So just make it a 25-game season. Maybe we make it 30. Then next thing you know, we'll make it an 82. We'll be like the NBA, and we'll just play the NFL every single week.
Yeah, and then
it's kind of crazy. Like,
could you
where
imagine
do we draw the line?
Football conversations about load management because there's too many games?
Seriously. And then and during the break, we talked about, and then they're sending multiple games every year all over the planet.
Yes. Every continent over in Europe. I mean, hell, they want the dream for the NFL is to have a division in Europe.
It's
I mean,
just
like
greed.
I don't think it's any surprise that you have this upcoming season games taking place in England, in Spain, in Germany, and in France. right? Like that. Does that seem like
off
there's
the back of Brazil?
Right, but do you see what I'm saying? There are 4 countries right there that could perhaps house an NFL team. Germany, France, Spain, England. Oh, there's your European division right there, right? Yeah, I mean, it's I guess it's good that Florio is writing that he thinks it's highly unlikely that they'll get to 18 games by 2027. So it's definitely a storyline we'll keep our eyes on in the NFL. It's Bleck Abdalla, Sean Little filling in for Abdalla today here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. I have to ask you about this video I saw from Bryce Harper. Did you see this video the other day? Bryce Harper recording a video that he posted online, and he's brushing his teeth. Now,
I did.
Here's the thing that I find interesting about the video. It's his method to applying the toothpaste to the brush. And now we all, I assume, if you're listening to this show, I assume you're brushing your teeth daily, if not multiple times a day. I try to get twice in there. Doesn't always happen, but I would like twice. Bryce Harper, how would you? He sucks on the tube. Is that the way to say it? I don't know how to. He applies the toothpaste to the mouth first, and then wets the brush, and then starts brushing. What kind of a psycho is he? Maybe I'm wrong. Have you ever seen anyone go to brush their teeth and put the toothpaste in their mouth first and then put the brush in second after you got some water on the brush?
I have never seen that in my life. And I was shocked a little bit. I'm a rinse, apply toothpaste, rinse again guy.
Okay, yeah. Double wet.
Insert,
why not?
Right?
Yes, of
this
course.
This is like putting ketchup, onion, tomato in your mouth and then taking a bite of a hamburger. This is like making a Chicago dog, but putting the mustard, the peppers, the relish, the onion in your mouth and then taking a bite of the hot dog. It just doesn't make any sense, yet that's how he does it.
Yeah, I mean, I've never seen that. Raj, have you ever seen something like that where someone does that? Where they put the toothpaste in the mouth first?
I have not. I just put in the chat. I will admit, I have put, like, while I'm driving, some ketchup from the ketchup packet in my mouth first and, like, put it in the corner and then taken a couple French fries. Like, I've done that. I've also taken the like Hershey's chocolate syrup and put a little in my mouth and then taken a swig of like regular milk and like mixed it around in my mouth to make
instant chocolate milk.
I've done that, but I've never put the toothpaste in my mouth before I put it on the toothbrush.
Yeah, no. And okay, like if you're driving, maybe different rules. I get it. It's difficult to apply the ketchup.
Yeah, I can have like I don't have like a little dipping tray for my fries, you know. So I just kind of use.
I get
that. You use what you do.
Works.
You get resourceful.
I'm okay with that. But like Sean was saying, like, could you imagine sitting down and then instead of putting the ketchup and the mustard and the mayo or whatever you're putting on your hamburger, you just throw that in the mouth and then you take the burger and you take a bite out of the burger
at the dinner table.
What the hell? When I saw Bryce Harper put the tube of toothpaste to the mouth and to just take some toothpaste and then like kind of with his tongue put it on his teeth. I've never I don't know. I don't know if we can say he's going to be a Hall of Fame ball player anymore.
Has he commented on this?
I have yet to see it. We'll have to keep following this story. It's Bleck Abdalla on Westwood One Sports.
This is Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
This is Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
That's right. Bleck and Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports, the Westwood One Sports app, Sirius XM Channel 375. All of our great radio affiliates here on the Westwood One Sports Network. I'm Chris Bleck along with Sean Little, filling in for Abdalla today. We are on the air until 3 Eastern. If you want to join the show, you can call or text us at 310-840-4910. Last night, the Oklahoma City Thunder, they win Game 5 of the Western Conference Finals, 127 to 114. They now have a 3-2 lead in the series. Game 6 is Thursday night, 8:30 Eastern. So that's going to be a fantastic game in San Antonio. We'll see if the Spurs can respond. But the way the Spurs lost the game last night, Sean, and kind of like I guess it's just not losing the game. It's the way they go out at the end, where Wembanyama is whispering something to Bismack Biyombo as he heads off the floor. Biyombo comes into the game, throws a hard foul. Miles Plumlee, or Mason Plumlee, one of the Plumlees is out there, throws another hard foul. And you have a situation where it feels, Mason Plumlee, it feels like, was there a conversation from Wemby to those who are entering the game at the very end to kind of leave their mark, right? So that's one aspect that doesn't sit well. The other is after the game, Victor Wembanyama doesn't speak to the media. He's supposed to. He walks out. He's not there. He leaves the arena. Okay, usually in that scenario, NBA players in the conference finals or the playoffs that do not speak to the media, they get fined. Shams Charania reported about an hour ago that the NBA has warned Victor Wembanyama for violating the media access rules. Wemby bypassed the media obligations after Game 5 on Tuesday night, will not be fined for his actions when in previous situations, Jimmy Butler in 2023 in the Eastern Conference Finals, he did not participate in the media availability after the game. He was fined $25,000. And Wemby is going to be warned. So clearly, Sean, it feels like the NBA is handling Wembanyama with kid gloves. They're afraid to actually come down on him.
This is favoritism 101, without question. This is our golden child. We're not going to find him. It's almost a decision players have made over the years. I'm not going to talk to the media, and I'll just eat the $25K. Like, that's almost a decision that people are making. Like, I know I'm going to get banged here, but I'm going to eat it because I don't want to deal with it. I'll pay the $25K not to sit down for 8 minutes and deal with these stupid questions. That's always been the trade-off.
It'd be nice to have that cash, right?
Right.
To not have to worry about something like that.
No, you don't want to answer some questions for $25K and you pick, I'll pay the $25K? Yeah.
Sure.
But yes.
Could you imagine?
Yes. Without question, it seems very, I would almost say, Silver not finding Wemby is softer than Wemby not talking to the media.
Yeah.
Like, this is your league. This is the president. It's already been set. This is $25K automatic, and they don't do it. Coming off of a loss in where you probably played your worst game of the playoffs, Victor Wembanyama, you have to chat with the media. But for them to go out like that, play like that, him not be impactful on defense or offense. We talked about this earlier in the show. Throughout the year, there has been games and stretches where offensively Victor Wembanyama has not carried the Spurs and has not been impactful. And it's been guys like Stephon Castle, Devin Vassell, Sham Penny, Dylan Harper, and the lot. Fox. Those are the guys that have been playing a lot of offense. But there hasn't been very many games where Victor Wembanyama hasn't made an impact defensively or offensively, and that's what we saw last night. He was 4 of 15 from the floor. He wasn't rebounding. He wasn't involved, and it showed on both ends. And then not to talk to the media, it's a really, really poor look from a guy that has quietly, if you've been paying attention, has had a couple poor looks here in the playoffs.
Yeah, no doubt. And for the game overall, 20 points in 38 minutes, 4 of 15 from the field, like you mentioned, 0 of 5 from 3. The 6 rebounds is crazy. You can't be that tall and play that many minutes and only get 6 boards. I don't care who you are. It doesn't matter. You could be a guy that just stinks, but you're out there because you're tall. You get more than 6 boards. So Wemby clearly had a bad game.
Disengaged.
No doubt. And I would also say, I think the Spurs play their best when Wembanyama is not their lead scorer. Like, that's not what he is. When you do get that, it's a cherry on top, right? Because everything else is working. The defense is there. And if he can pop off and give you 30 plus or 40 like he did in game 1, then then they are extremely difficult to beat. he had a bad game, no doubt. He is the face of the NBA. And I don't care what anyone wants to say. The numbers in the last 2 months have shown us that he is the draw. He hasn't won yet. He hasn't accomplished anything. He hasn't won an MVP. He hasn't even gotten a team to the finals. But he is definitely the most important player in the NBA right now. It's not Steph Curry. It's not LeBron James. It's not anyone else in the playoffs, a two-time MVP and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. No, that's not the case. It's Wembanyama. And it does feel that there are now multiple incidents that he is being handled differently than what others in the standard would be that they would live up to and how they would be treated in these situations. And you go back to the Timberwolves series, the elbow that he threw at Naz Reid would have led to a suspension. I think the previous situation where you could find an example of something like that was Ron Artest threw an elbow to the side of James Harden's head when he was playing with the Thunder. It was Lakers Thunder in the game, and Artest got like 6 or 7 games suspended. Now, Artest
Harden had a dent in his head. Remember that?
Yeah. Artest also had a track record. With that said, if you wanted to argue intent, you could see it on Wembanyama's face that he had intent to connect with an elbow. The same way Ron Artest got the elbow ready and unleashed it into the side of Harden's head.
7 games.
7 a game. Okay, 7 games. Was it playoffs or just regular season?
This was in the playoffs.
Playoffs. Okay, so there you go. So to not get any game suspended from Wembanyama shows favoritism towards the Golden Goose, the chosen one, the person that
regular
they want.
Season, excuse me.
Regular season?
End of the regular season.
So to not get any shows favoritism towards Wembanyama. And then last night, okay, does it really matter that Wembanyama didn't speak to the media? It doesn't. It's a part of the rules on what the players have to do, though. So, does it change my life if he would have spoke last night, or if you were a fan of the Thunder or the Spurs or a basketball fan? It doesn't. But it's a part of the deal that when you are a player for these teams, you have to. It's a part of the gig.
Well, I would say
you got to do it.
I would say it does matter because you can't be the guy that has a good game and you run up to the podium and you can't wait to sit down and answer questions, and then you have a bad game and you're running to the parking lot.
It shapes our opinion on you based on that. I mean, I think that's where, sometimes talking too much maybe changes the way people view players like Draymond Green, right? Like Draymond sometimes doesn't know when to stop. I would argue that he's pretty insightful in the post-game situations. He has a lot of great things to say. So it's all a part of the package. But, Sean, I guess the greater point that you and I are trying to point to is that if you want to be the face of the league, when you have a bad game, you can't go run and hide.
Also, you not going out, you're 100% right. You cannot run and hide. But also, you not speaking to the media just puts another one of your teammates out there on the chopping block because someone has to talk to the media.
Yeah, that's true.
All they're going to do is continue to just go down the line of players on, okay, Victor's not speaking. Well, then, okay, can I talk to De'Aaron Fox? Yep. Someone's going to end up coming out. If you're the leader, you come out and take all the bullets because you get all the success when everything is going well. That's why it's soft and rubs me the wrong way. You come out and you take the arrows for all your guys when you need to, and you get the praise when you also deserve it.
And I also think here in this series, Sean Little in for Abdalla today, Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. You can call or text the show at 310-840-4910. I would also say, on the flip side of it, I have talked at length here on the show that I don't think people like the Oklahoma City Thunder for various reasons. The personalities, the flopping, the foul baiting, the complaining, whatever they are, usually a team going for their second championship in the conference finals after a season that they just had. Usually it's like the talked about team on SportsCenter nationally. Like they're the team, the dynasty conversation is in the forefront of all of the sports talk conversations. And it feels like to me, and you can tell me if I'm wrong on this, I don't think people nationally outside of Oklahoma like the Thunder. I think they like to rip the Thunder, or they want to see them lose, and they view them as a cheap team that's successful. And what I mean by cheap is that the articles that have been published of the Shai Gilgeous-Alexander laying on the floor constantly, that no player in the playoffs has been on the floor more on the court than SGA.
Yeah,
right?
him and Embiid,
or if you track back to the Doris Burke comment of him being a foul merchant, and that's like his entire scheme offensively is not to score or be better than you offensively. It's to bait you into fouling him so he's standing at the free throw line. It's just not something that I enjoy watching, and I don't think people enjoy watching it. I think they like watching this series because they want to see the Thunder lose. So if that's the style that they have, and people are already complaining about the foul baiting and the dirty plays, and because we've already seen in this series Chet Holmgren stomping on Wemby's foot. What was it? There was one other play that was a cheap, dirty play that took place.
There might have been maybe a Lou Dort dove into some. I can't remember yet, but overall, their style of play, they always seem to be in a questionable situation.
I guess my point to bringing this up is that to them, Wemby kind of like doubled down with that style, right? I'm not going to speak to the media because I didn't get my way type of thing. It's like you're supposed to be the one that everyone's rooting for to take down the guys. And that's where in previous iterations of this style of situation clashing, you get like Jordan eventually having the more talent and rising above the Pistons with the Jordan rules. We were talking about that a little bit earlier. Or even Bulls Knicks in the 90s. The whole MO for the New York Knicks under Pat Riley with Charles Oakley and Anthony Mason and John Starks was to body Jordan and Pippen and be more physical and disrupt their talent. And the talent eventually wins, right? But now Wemby needs to double down and actually show the talent.
Yeah, and I think he will. And I think he will, first of all, you can't outrun the media. So all they're going to do is ask him the questions they wanted to ask him tomorrow morning, if they haven't asked him already as we record this in downtown Chicago on Westwood One Sports. So he's not going to run from the media. So he'll end up answering the questions that need to be answered. And yes, he's in a spot where he gets to go home and answer for a poor game. The tough thing about Wemby's situation is every single game he plays here on out's the biggest game he's ever played.
Yeah.
So he has to answer the bell over and over and over. So game one was great. One of the best playoff games I've ever seen. Maybe from an individual standpoint, but from a collective, that game one was unbelievable. They pulled that out. Game two, it's like, what are we going to do? You got to answer the bell again. They end up losing that game. They lose game three, but he shows up massive in game four at home. Yeah. So he's answered the bell in a lot of different spots. Victor Wembanyama, I believe, will answer the bell at home here in game six.
No, I expect him to as well. That's just the way this series has gone.
Yeah.
I thought it would be 7 games from the start. I still hold true to that. Tomorrow night, the Spurs are the favorites. If you go to DraftKings right now, I think they're like a 3.5-point favorite of the contest.
Yep.
So I'm guessing the Spurs play better at home. I'm guessing Wemby gets off to a quicker start. I think some of that last night was that Wembanyama wasn't doing anything in the first quarter. It felt like Champagnie was the only player that was ready to go for the Spurs early on. They went to the first or the second time out of the first quarter, and Champagnie had like 12 points, 13 points. He was great from the start. It's just Castle wasn't ready. Wemby wasn't ready. And the Thunder, they played a decent game throughout. And then at the start of the third quarter, they threw a haymaker. And it felt like that was the game. The run that they put on at the start of the third quarter, it felt like they regrouped at halftime, and they knew that if they just put up some type of effort in the first 4 minutes of the third quarter, that Wemby and his legs and the way that the Spurs were playing, they weren't going to have enough offense to keep pace. And it just felt like the game was kind of over from that point on last night.
Yeah, in the first quarter, Champagny had 13 points.
13, yeah.
Carter Bryant had 5 points. A combined of De'Aaron Fox, Steph Castle, Victor Wembanyama were 3 of 10. Devin Vassell only had 1 attempt. So they just got off to a slow start and never recovered. And that's been the MO of the series outside of the 15-0 start in game 3. Outside of that, if whoever starts the game quickly and kind of sets the tone on how they want to play ball has been the one that's sustained that the rest of the game. I really think in this series specifically, it's very physical, and the home crowd is pushing the home team over the line when necessary. In the last 2 games, the Thunder looked exhausted when they played in San Antonio. San Antonio packed the bags, went to Oklahoma City, and they looked exhausted last night. I think we're going to see a lot more of that here in Game 6. And it's just a really, really good matchup. They match up really well with each other. And it's been like this the entire year. I think that's why you thought it was going to go 7, because the Spurs were the only team physically that could hang with Oklahoma City throughout the regular season. And that's shown here in the playoffs.
Yeah, and until it gets late in a couple of these games where the point differential is above 10 points, the basketball taking place on both ends of the floor has been some of the best basketball you're going to see this season. So, it's been a fun series to watch, and I like all these different storylines that layer in. I think it's really intriguing now to see what type of a response Wembanyama has for the Thunder. So the latest news today is that Wembanyama skips out on the media availability last night after the game, after the Thunder win Game 5. Wemby will not be fined for that. Usually in that situation, NBA players who skip out on the media availability, they get fined like $25K, and Wemby will not be fined. So tomorrow, Game 6, Thursday night, we'll see what happens, and we'll see if the Spurs can respond. It's Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. Yesterday, 11 teams in the NFL reported to OTAs. Today, 8 more teams reported. Yesterday, we saw a quarterback who was injured at the end of last season, rehabbing an injury, Patrick Mahomes, play on the field, throw some passes. Today, there's another quarterback that was injured at the end of last season who's out there throwing at OTAs. We'll tell you who that quarterback is coming up next.
Summer's here, and life is on the move. Graduations, vacations, and more. Wherever you're headed, you can count on us. For the daily sports news and analysis you need to hear, listen on the Westwood One Sports app. Wherever you are this summer, Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
This is Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
Bleck and Abdalla hanging out with you here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. Sean Little in for Abdalla today as we hang out, talk a little football with you. Yesterday, 11 teams reported for OTAs around the National Football League. Today, 8 more. Yesterday, Patrick Mahomes was out there on the field. He had a torn ACL. He's back. He's throwing the football. Now, the Chiefs didn't tell us specifically how much Mahomes participated in, but they also posted a video saying he's back, and he's out there dropping back, throwing passes. Today, we have another quarterback who was injured at the end of last season, pretty major injury, who's already back throwing at OTAs. We go to Indianapolis. Daniel Jones, who tore his Achilles at the end of last season, is in Colts OTAs less than 6 months after he tore the Achilles, and he is dropping back and he is throwing passes for the Colts at their workout today in Indy. So there you go. Daniel Jones on the field throwing. He just tore his Achilles. Patrick Mahomes, torn ACL. He's out there throwing. All right, here we go. Quarterbacks, football, let's go.
December 7th, Daniel Jones tore his Achilles.
What?
Just under 6 months ago.
December 7th.
He's in OTAs doing full drop back right Achilles as well. So that's the plant leg, right? He's planting, pushing off, and letting it fly. If you remember watching Kirk Cousins come off his Achilles, he couldn't get any push.
No.
He was trying to like jump pass because he didn't want to push off that right leg. Daniel Jones in these clips that we're watching on turf indoors is dropping back, pushing off the right foot, looking spry.
Yeah, I believe that is ABC 6, and Indy has the footage of OTAs. And you're right. I mean, he is moving in the pocket. He's shuffling up. He's shuffling back. He's shuffling to the side.
Drills.
He is planting that back foot. He's firing off of it. Yeah, that does not – that I know this is just OTA work. They're not even wearing pads. They've got the helmets on, but they're not wearing pads. Like, that doesn't look like Kirk Cousins when Cousins returned, because Kirk Cousins would catch the ball in a stance where both feet were like even, and then he like couldn't move to turn his hips and to throw. Daniel Jones that's like a full pivot off of the back foot, and also when he's moving up in the pocket, like it doesn't look like he was injured.
And there was videos.
All right,
comparing Cousins of like before the Achilles, he had a stagger, and then when he tore it, he kind of had his feet even together on the shotgun. So yeah, very, very good news. Hopefully, Daniel Jones comes back and rolls.
Yeah, I don't think the Colts are going to be any good this year, but it's good. It's good that Daniel Jones is back in the mix, working out during OTAs for the Indianapolis Colts. Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. So like we were saying, we had 11 teams report to OTAs yesterday. 8 teams report to OTA today. The 49ers, the Saints, the Lions, the Bears, the Commanders, the Texans, the Jets, and the New England Patriots. Now, Sean, here on the show for the last couple of months, we have been following a story, the off-the-field situation with one Mike Vrabel. Yes.
Where in the world is Mike Vrabel and Diana Rossini?
Yeah. It's we're not proud of it, but we do know where one of the two party where they're located today.
Where in the world is Mike Vrabel and Diana Rossini?
It is Vrabel because of OTAs for the Patriots starting up today. He is there, and he had a chance to speak to the media earlier today. So here's Mike Vrabel on dealing with the distractions off the field.
You know, we all have to deal with things, outside of here. And my focus and obviously the excitement that I have for coaching is what is most important right now.
Yes, we all have to deal with things outside of here. Correct. Mike Vrabel also speaking to the media earlier today, asked about the balance of family and football. Here's Vrabel.
Oh, really good. I think that's, again, I appreciate my family is great. I love Jen. I love the boys. I love, my personal friends. And then, this spring is focused on really the coaching staff, the players, more importantly than the coaching staff. But I just, seeing the coaches in the second year, how smooth the conversations are, hey, we love this play. How do we make it better? And then these guys, they go out and they find ways to make it better, and then we have conversations, and then we decide on a few things that we're going to try to enhance the things that we did last year. The unique thing about the players is there's 44 new players to our spring football.
Okay, yes, he loves his wife and his family and his kids, and then some random stuff about the football team. Correct. I guess the important thing here with Vrabel is he missed a day during the draft. So the off-the-field whatever it is between he and Diana Rossini that was reported by the New York Post and TMZ and everything that was out there, the thing that's important is that he missed a part of football operations by missing a day during the draft. Here's Vrabel. Will he miss more time?
I mean, I can only tell you I'm going to be there today, but I can't tell you anything other than I'm going to be out there today in full force. And I mean that because, who knows what's going to come up? I'm not even, anything could happen.
Sure.
So I'm going to focus on today. But in the excitement that we've had and that we've built so far.
So there you go, Mike Vrabel. Yep.
Where in the world is Mike Vrabel and Diana Rossini.
There you go, Sean. Who can tell what's going to happen
Dad,
tomorrow?
are you going to come to my baseball games? Like,
who knows?
son, I can only tell you I'll be there today. These other games coming up.
Who knows what could happen?
Trip, who knows what could happen, brother? I don't know.
Who knows? Who knows what can happen with that? All right. I think this is exactly how I thought this would kind of play out. It's something that he and his family either have already dealt with or are in the process of dealing with off the field. And quite honestly, it doesn't really affect the football operation as long as he's present. I thought it was not great that he wasn't there for the draft, for day 3 of the draft.
Yeah.
Not being there. I don't, that to me is affecting the football operation. But if he is there in person and he is there conducting his duties as head coach, everything else is just noise in the background. And, who knows? Who knows their situation? Maybe all parties are on the up and up, and it's just something that the tabloids ran wild with for a month or so.
Yeah, he's got to have that moxie and that presence about him, though. I think that's what makes him a special head coach. And if he's not confident and feels like he has to tiptoe around and maybe people aren't viewing him as the leader and the man that they once did, I think that's an issue for the New England Patriots. Also, this is a perfect storm. They way outperformed expectation last year. They go to the Super Bowl and lose. Drake May looks unbelievable, comes a couple votes short of winning the MVP. Now you get the first place schedule. Now everybody has a lot of tape on May and co. Now the expectations are there. And I think even without this scandal, they were going to be a lot worse than they were last year. So you add the scandal on top of it, and this is a real perfect storm for them to have a rough year and Vrabel to just be under pressure consistently for 17 weeks this year and maybe 22 weeks, depending on what Goodell decides come next year.
Yeah, I mean, okay. I think you make a great point there, Sean, on this, because remove the Vrabel-Rossini thing from the equation.
Yes.
If you just talk to me about the football, I would have been out on the Patriots this upcoming year as far as being as good as they were last year, based on some of those items that you just mentioned. 1, they're going to have a first-place schedule. 2, I think the Buffalo Bills are better. 3, I think that I'm not going to take away what the Patriots accomplished, but let's be real. If Bo Nix was healthy for the AFC Championship game, the Broncos are likely the team that gets to the Super Bowl. It just is what it is. I mean, the Patriots got their butt kicked in the Super Bowl. It wasn't competitive. Seattle was that much better. So could Drake May take another step forward? Yeah, he certainly could. But they played an easy schedule last season. And that was the criticism on Drake May and his MVP run last year, and why everyone wanted Matthew Stafford to be the MVP. Abdalla and I argued about it on the show. At the start of this show in January, when we got started, we were in the middle of the NFL playoffs and the debates about Stafford and May being MVP of the NFL. And the critique on that was that the Patriots didn't play anyone. And in the games where they did play someone, May didn't play that well. So I could see a line of thinking where May gets a little bit better and they improve. I could see that. I could also see the first place schedule, the fact that the Bills are better, and the fact that if you want to point to anything, the moment this team gets off to a slow start, the conversations around the Patriots are going to be, was Vrabel a distraction this offseason based on the Rossini situation that took place? Now, the one thing I do think that's in his favor is that it's so far away. Like, this was a topic of conversation the night of the draft. That was the end of April. We're now at the end of May. And quite honestly, it's kind of dried up.
Yeah.
The New York Post, snapshots and TMZ and all that stuff has kind of it's dissipated. Like there's not the daily update that we were getting 3 weeks ago. So with that said, now we move forward a couple of months. Training camp in August, preseason in August, the start of the season in September. I mean, is this even going to be a blip on the radar? I'm guessing it won't be. The only thing that could change that is that nobody has heard from Diana Rossini.
You think the podcast appearance is coming?
Well, I'm just saying what will happen is when she does speak to whoever she speaks to, there will be media attention around that. Because I'm guessing she's not going to be silent forever on it. Wherever the place is.
Sure.
Whether or not it's, is NBC lining up a Today Show interview the day the season starts because the Patriots are in Seattle for the opener? Like, could you see her on today? The morning before the NFL kickoff? I don't know.
Waiting all day for Sunday night. But first.
Yeah, right. Like, here comes. All right, Diana, TV vet, give us the breakdown on what took place here. Like, who knows? I don't know. Nothing's happened as of the last 3 weeks. So I'm guessing it kind of dies away until she speaks.
Or until they start losing games, right? Like that's what I was kind of getting at, right?
But if they lose games and nothing more happens with this storyline, I don't think losing games in September, October affects.
That might not be an actual reason, but I think it comes up. It's like, hey, your coach has been distracted all offseason with a lot of different things. Family life is in shambles. Like, if that's true or not.
Yeah.
Like, it's an excuse. That's what I mean. So
I guess
when we talk about them not being that good on field, like they were undefeated last year on the road. That's not going to happen again.
No, won't. And I guess the thing that I'm pointing to is that really today starts their offseason program. So, like, from here on out, how distracted will he be? Like, Sean, you're right. People will point to that taking place if things continue to trickle out, or if she has an interview and releases some form of information that none of us were aware of. Yeah, that could be a problem for him, right? Like that, it could all change how we perceive it. But if nothing new is released and like that's it and the story's over and we don't have to use the stupid sounder anymore,
Mike Vrabel and Diana Rossini.
Like for a hot minute, we were tracking on a map all the different locations that they've been seen in, right? Like if that's over with, the football starts today. So from here on out, if there is no distraction, like this is the football stuff. OTAs, which they're not even that important, but really the stuff when you get to training camp. As long as it's over by then, I don't think it's going to be much of a problem.
I think it all depends on what happens on the field. If their third-round draft pick is bad, if their day 3 draft pick is bad, it comes up.
Well, my partner who usually sits in that chair would lead you to believe that it doesn't matter. He was the one telling us that Vrabel didn't need to be there and he didn't need to be a part of it. Right, Raj? Isn't that what Abdalla was saying?
Yeah. Who have the Patriots ever drafted in the 6th round that helped that franchise? I mean, come on.
Yeah,
exactly.
I just think when you're looking for an excuse on how on earth did the Patriots lose to the Jets, and they didn't look as locked
prepared.
in. Yes, they weren't prepared. They're going to say, well, their head coach wasn't prepared all summer long. Like they're just going to grasp for anything, And I think it's going to be a perfect storm when it all said and done because they're in for regression on the field, and I think naturally it's just going to seep into your coach was doing extracurriculars.
It's Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports. Sean Little filling in for Adam Abdalla today. Are you ready for a summer of tracking LeBron James free agency conversations? Because that's essentially what we have in front of us in the next 2 months of trying to figure out where LeBron will play next. I have the latest for you, and I'll tell you about that coming up next.
The Knicks are headed to the NBA Finals for the first time since 1999. Back then, we had dial-up internet. Live in La Vida Loca topped the charts. And the world was worried about Y2K. Yeah, it's been a while. Congrats, Big Apple. Party like it's 1999. Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
is Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
Make sure you check out the podcast on Apple and on Spotify. Also, each and every day, the live stream of the show. The video's up there on YouTube, Bleck and Abdalla Show. Make sure you hang out and check it out with us each and every day here on Westwood One Sports. Thanks to Raj and Roy for producing today's show. Jim Rome and the Jim Rome Show is coming up in 14 minutes right here on Westwood One Sports. Abdalla's out today. Sean Little filling in. Thank you for filling in today. It's been fun hanging out with you, Sean. And also, you know, the thing that we are keeping our eyes on here in this offseason for the NBA is that once again, the national nightmare of having to update and to follow what LeBron James will do for the upcoming season will be a never-ending conversation for the next 2 months, I'm guessing. So here on the show, we officially are on LeBron James watch. Yep.
Who is he?
LeBron James.
Will he build another super team?
Got to start with Superman. Man, I could have used him on the Cavs.
How many weeks will he stretch this?
Not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5.
LeBron Watch 2026 with Bleck and Abdalla.
The answer to the question everybody wants to know. LeBron, what's your decision?
In this fall, I'm going to take my talents.
Yes, so we have you covered here on Westwood One Sports. Bleck and Abdalla. Sean Little in for Abdalla today. LeBron James watch here in this summer of 2026. Here's the update today. Brian Windhorst from ESPN saying that if the Lakers are not going to offer LeBron James the max, he would like an explanation to anything less than the max to stay with the Los Angeles Lakers, because he is the one dictating the policy. He's the one that will decide whether or not he will be with the Lakers going forward. Don't mind the fact that maybe the Lakers want to move on from LeBron as much as he might want to leave them. So that's the latest, is that he would like an explanation to why he doesn't deserve the max contract.
Well, you chuckle, but I think he does. He has earned that. Even if it's a conversation, he has earned the right to put their feet to the fire and say, hey, if you're not going to give me the money, where's it going to go, and how is it going to help my career, and how is it going to help us win here if I stay? So I get it. I get the humor in it as well, but, I mean, he's also still playing at a really high level. So I'm sure if you don't want to pay me the max, and if I'm going to even think about taking a discount, where's all this money going to go? Is it going to go to Austin Reeves? Are we going to extend Ayton? Are we going to get rid of Ayton and go get another big? What are we going to do? So I think that's the overall. That's what I took from it anyway.
There's 41 reasons why we should not pay max money for him.
Yeah, well, yes, yeah. Thank you, Roy. Yes, and Roy is a, as he told us yesterday, a long-suffering Lakers fan, which I don't think that's something that can exist in the NBA. A long-suffering Laker fan. But to your point, Sean, I'm laughing at this because it's not that LeBron doesn't deserve the money, and it's not that he can't play anymore. He can certainly play. It's that I feel as if he is trying to publicly position himself through back channels, trying to put it on the Lakers as they're the bad guys in this breakup, where they need to tell me if they're not going to give me anything but the max, they need to explain to me what they're going to do with it. They don't really. Like they may be ready to move on from LeBron James. Also, I know Pelinka said publicly 2 weeks ago that he wants LeBron James back, which is fine. You can say that to the media, but it is possible that they're ready to move on from this era of LeBron being with the Lakers and ready to move on and build around Luka. I think that could be at play as well. And I think a lot of this jostling with LeBron and the Lakers will be because he's trying to, position it in a spot where, well, the reason he's leaving the Lakers is because they don't want me. They didn't explain to me this. They were going to do this with their cat. I think it all makes sense. It is. And I know that Chris Mannix put on Sports Illustrated after the Cavs lost to the Knicks in the conference finals that the Cavs need to go after LeBron and bring him home, because the next move that would make sense for the Cavs would be adding LeBron James. So who knows? Could it be that situation? Could we see LeBron maybe link up with Steph Curry and Draymond in Golden State? There's various other teams that could be in play for LeBron in this offseason. I know one team that was rumored loosely over the last 8 months. I think that's out the window now because they're too damn good without him, and that's the Knicks. I don't think the Knicks would have any use for LeBron going forward. You get to the finals without LeBron. What would you bring LeBron in to disrupt what you have with that team that you've built? Josh Hart, OG Anunoby, Bridges, Brunson, Cat. New York's no longer on the table.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it would be. And I think that would be a club that he would go play for if it was an opportunity.
Right, and it was in the background.
There's only a handful of teams, right? He's not going to Charlotte. He's not going to LeBron's not going to Sacramento. You know what I mean? So there's only a few teams that
could
are
you
even
imagine?
in the discussion. Yeah, I could not actually. But yeah, this year was LeBron's player option that he opted into, $52 million. Now he's unrestricted. Something's gonna have to give.
What do you think the best fit for him would be? What as a basketball fan, what do you think would make the most sense?
I think he could really improve Cleveland. I think him staying in LA at call it even $30 million. If him, Luka, and Austin Reeves are still taking up 60 to 65% of your cap, you are not a serious contender in the Western Conference.
Okay, but the pushback on that
and you got to add Bronny.
In the month of March, all three were healthy, and they had the second best record in the NBA during that time span, and they jumped to third in the conference, only behind the Spurs and the Thunder. Now, I don't think that three-player combination. Yeah. I don't think that's better than the Thunder or the Spurs. It's pretty good though. They were pretty good, but and then you add in,
and they beat up on a physical Houston team without two of their guys, and LeBron led the way there, and Rui played a lot better, and we saw Luke Kennard step up in ways that people didn't know he could step up. So yeah, I understand what you're saying, but I think when we're talking about the West, you're looking at it every other night right now. Can you compete with the Spurs? Can you compete with the Thunder? And that team, that trio cannot, taking up that much of the cap for essentially three guys that don't play a lot of D.
And I'm with you. If he wanted to join the old dogs up in Golden State with Steph and Draymond, that's not getting you any closer to winning again anyway. No. Yeah, you might enjoy your time playing with those guys, but that might be it.
Get to the East.
So there you go. There's our LeBron James watch for today. Yep.
Who is he?
LeBron James.
Will he build another super team?
Gotta start with Superman. Man, I could have used him on the Cavs.
How many weeks will he stretch this?
Not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5.
LeBron Watch 2026 with Bleck and Abdalla.
The answer to the question everybody wants to know. LeBron, what's your decision?
In this fall, I'm going to take my talents.
It's not going to be quick. He's going to take his time. Thank you, Sean. Thank you for filling in for Abdalla today. We appreciate it.
Anytime, my brother. I always have a great time.
There is Sean Little in for Abdalla today. Abdalla will be back tomorrow. Bleck and Abdalla will be back at noon Eastern tomorrow. Jim Rome is coming up next.
This is Westwood One Sports.